Hi guys, this is Nadia from Imbali Crafts, and today I want to show you how to make this layered woven wire wrap pendant. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because I upload new stuff on a regular basis. I quite often make kits and PDF tutorials for the videos I put up on here, and I'll pop a link in the description below. I also have all sorts of gemstones, square and half round wire, some beads, and all sorts of other goodies on my website. So take a gander over and see if there's anything you fancy. Last but not least, come and join us in our wire wrappers and metalsmiths group on Facebook. I'll also pop a link below. Right, let's get started. Right, so we're going to cut our wires, and we're going to start by obviously finding the midpoint of all of these wires and also of the weaving wire, and we're going to start the pattern by wrapping the weaving wire once around the base wire, like so. And we're going to bring in the second wire. We're going to be wrapping around the second wire and the first wire once. We're going to bring the weaving wire in between wire 1 and 2, like so, and then wrap the weaving wire around wire 2 and 3 once, come in between wire 2 and 3, bring in the fourth wire, wrap around the fourth wire, third and fourth once. We're going to create a single loop around wire 4, and then we're going to line these up, so make sure that they're nice and straight, and I always tend to bend out the tips a little bit. Make sure that they still line up here, and that gives me a little bit of space to slide the wires in. So now we're going to travel back down, so we're going to go around wire 3 and 4, come in between wire 1 and 2, and go around wire 2 and 3, and then go around wire 1 and 2, and then wrap around wire 1 once. And I always tend to push up the weave, and that's what it looks like. So now we're going to continue, and the pattern starts exactly the same again. So we're going to repeat the process, going to round wire 1 and 2, come in between wire 1 and 2, round wire 2 and 3, round wire 3 and 4, round wire 4, and then we're just going to travel back down, wrapping around 2 wires at a time. And then when you get to the bottom, wrap around once around the bottom wire, and that's the pattern. So we would continue. Obviously your wire lengths will be much longer. Make sure that it's also in the midpoint as well, and we're going to make this long enough so that it wraps around whatever bead or stone you have available. So you just need to kind of gauge the size and the amount of weaves you need for that. Okay, I think I've got enough now, so you're going to have enough to sort of wrap around your beads. I've got one of these oval beads here, or maybe a pyrite bead. I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. They're pretty much the same size. So what we're going to do is shape this to fit an oval shape. So you're going to have it a little bit longer. So we're just going to fold it up. I don't think that these wires will fit through the bead, so we're going to have to use the weaving wires to use as an anchor. Make this a little bit straight. I think I might just use the pyrite bead. So I just want to bend this up, kind of like that. Right, so I've shaped this now, and this will have to fit the bead. And now that we're determined that the wire actually does fit through the bead, I'm going to put a bend in it, like so. And then we're going to straighten it up. And I think this will now fit through the bead. If not, I'll just trim the end off. I'm going to put that on there. There we go, that's fine. So we're going to slide that on, and bend it into shape, and it'll sit like that, and then we're going to bend this wire up again at the other end, and we'll kind of line it up with the wires here. All right, separating this out, we're going to use the leftover wire. We're just going to bind these two together, so I'm going to just start by wrapping around the bottom 3 times. 3 by 2 we're making here, so that's 3 times around the bottom wire and twice around both wires, and then we're just going to come back 3 times around the bottom wire and then twice around the top, and that's what it looks like. So I always use my, you can see why the bent nose pliers here are quite useful, pushing in the weaves, and that's what it looks like so far. I'm just going to continue here and tell you how many we're going to do in a minute. Obviously the amount of weaves you're going to put in here just depends on the size of your stone, so you're just going to have to adjust the weave to your design to make it fit. So as I was working, I just snapped my wire, which happens. So I'm just going to reattach this, but I thought I would show you how, for those that are new to wire wrapping, how you would bring in a piece of wire. So you would always try and attach the wire around a single wire, because there wouldn't be enough grip if you would take this piece of wire and wrap it around 2 base wires. So when something's snapped off, always leave a little bit of a tail, put my finger to hold it from the back, and I'm now going to wrap it around the bottom base wire once, and I just tie it in where I left off basically. So instead of having the 2 wrapped around both base wires, I'm starting back in around the 3 wraps at the bottom and putting the 3rd one in. So now I've got 3 wraps, and I'm just going to carry on where I left off, and now I'm going to go into 2 wraps around both base wires and 3 wraps around the bottom, and so forth, and just leave that tail until you're finished. Later on it helps to keep everything in place. You can see that the weave just picks up where the wire broke off, so to add in wire is actually fairly simple. It's a simple procedure, and it doesn't really change anything. The only problem that you might encounter is that when you trim the wires off, there may be a section at the back here where the wire sticks out. So when you do cut it, you want to make sure that it's cut off nice and flush, so it doesn't actually, you know, scratch your skin or you tear on your clothing, things like that. And that's that. All right, so I'm going to continue, and I think what I'll do on the other side is I'll also do 3 by 2s on this inner 2 wires here. So we'll just do 2 sets here, and then we'll see where we'll go from there. So I've created around 25 of these 2 by 3s, and I'm going to bend this shape or this weave around this way and bring it up, and I would like to have these bent out of the way. So I'm going to then rotate this, just try and keep the weave flat, bring it up, and just kind of bend it out so it comes back out to the top. Just try and keep it flat. You can use your tools to help you. I'm not managing very well with this wire, so just use the tools if you're struggling a bit like I do here. So just bring it round, and we'll just kind of leave it like that for now. We're going to work away on these wires here. So now we can actually cut off the wires that we've used earlier to bring in the new weave, or the wire that broke, so we can get rid of that. So I'm going to tidy that up, and then we're going to be working away on these wires here. All right, so next we're going to add some more wire in. It's roughly about a meter. I'm not sure what that is. 100 centimeters. Not sure what that is in inches, but I'll put that in the description. And all we're going to do is just coil it. So always a little bit difficult to get it in beginning, and we're just going to keep going until we have a good length. And we're going to be bringing this round top here as well, so we're just going to do a couple of centimeters up, and then we're going to bring this round. Right, so I have now made a coil. This is roughly about 6 centimeters or so. I'm not really sure what that is in inches, maybe 2.2 or something like that. I'll put the exact length in the description. So we're going to do the same as before. I'm going to just create a little detail with this. We're going to just follow the wire up, and I'm going to bring it around like that. And what I'd like to do with these, I'm not 100% sure yet, is maybe bring this round like so, and then sort of coil it back. I think that'll be quite nice. We'll bring it down the back and attach it here somewhere. So we're going to make this coil follow the direction as well, and then just bring it around the back. So again, obviously very organic. You just make it fit. We're going to bring these round, obviously adjust it to make it look a little bit nice. It's a little bit skew at this point, so just adjust it, and then we're going to use these wires here to attach to this gap at the back, and that'll give us a bit of structure here. So far that's what it looks like. Okay, so I brought it round and I arranged it the way I like, and I want to attach all of these wires together, so I'm going to undo some of the coils, and I'm going to reuse that wire just to give it a little bit more stability. So just undo all of that, and then you can straighten out the wire. So obviously be careful at this point. If you have bent the wire before, quite often it has a tendency to break at this stage. So I'm going to straighten this out. And all we're going to do is just attach these together with simple wraps around each wire once, and then we're just going to go up again around 2 wires, just like we did in the beginning, and that will just bind these wires together. And then on the way down, 1 wrap around each base wire, and then on the way up it's 1 wrap around both, and so forth, and then on the way down around each, and that will just bind the wires together. It's not, this is hidden at the back, this is just so that we have a bit of structure for it. And we're going to bring it down, and I'm going to be attaching one of these around the bottom here. I'm not too sure yet, but that's what it looks like so far. So just continue until you've got a bit of structure coming all the way down to the base. Right, so I've created this weave, and I'm going to use the last wire, bring it through here, and I'm going to be attaching this to the base here. Just bring it in as closely as you can, and then we're just going to wrap it around, and that will then tie this off nicely. So we've got these wires in place. Right, so I'm going to cut another meter of wire, and I'm going to be adding it to this section here, and again we're going to be creating 5 by 2s this time. So we're going to attach the wire to the weaving wire to the top base wire here, create 5 loops like so, think that's 5. And then we're going to go around both wires and wrap it around twice before coming back, and then continuing again with 5, and then 2, and then 5, and then 2, until we've got a good length of wire. Right, so I've decided with these 2 wires, actually we're going to bring these in between the stone and the little loop we've created here, because this is a little bit off center and I need something to come out here so that the pendant hangs true, because if we attach a jump ring to this at the moment, it's going to be skew. So I'm going to take these wires and I will bring them through here and gently feed them through. So you can take a pair of pliers, and one at a time. Bring these through. And then you can kind of tighten these up a bit. Kind of check from the front. So I wanted to have something here. I'm going to arrange to bring this down like so. We're going to be using these. So I'm going to be weaving some 2x5, and we're going to be using these to create a little loop behind here, just so that we have something extra to hang a jump ring from or something, because it wasn't really centered. So we're going to be arranging this, and then we're going to be doing some 2x5s here, or 2x3s depending. Right, so I've brought these wires in and I've tightened them up nicely around the frame here, and we're going to bring this weaving wire through as well. We're going to be using that to create some more 2x5s. So this is just the leftover wire from the weave we added in before this weave, so brought it through. If you're necessary, just add in some wire, but you shouldn't have to, because you should have enough. So we straighten these out, and I'm going to start off by wrapping 3 times around the base wire here, and then obviously twice around both wires. It'll be a little bit tricky at this stage because you have to make sure the wires line up, and then push it down into the groove. So just carry on. So that's 3, that's 4, can't really see. And then you 2, and then just continue. We'll maybe do about 10 or so wraps, I'm not sure, we'll see just now. So just continue until you've got enough to create another loop to go around the top. Right, so I've actually made 18 of 2x3s, and I'm going to create a little loop with this to go behind the existing loop already, so that will be there, so we can attach a jump ring or so. And then these wires, we'll trim these off. See if I can flatten these, and then we'll wrap these around these wires in here. Right, so I've bent this over, and this time I'm going to cut the wires off. So just trim off roughly about here. You want to leave yourself enough wires so that you can easily bend these round. I'm going to do one first. I want to bring this through here, and this other one as well. And you want to attach this. You don't actually need to even wrap them, just clamp them. It's good enough, so that obviously you spend more time securing them, just so that it doesn't come undone. So that's what it looks like. And just make sure that you clamp this off properly. So now we've got these wires left here, and we're going to be working in where I just realized actually that I lost one wire here, so somehow it must have broken off in there. So now we've only got 2 wires here. Oh well, I'm going to be using this. So that's what it looks like so far. We're going to be working away with this wire here. So I'm just going to bring this wire up. I'm going to bend this wire around. Actually want to have this up a bit. Not very good with these. So bring this round and then kind of find a place to tie this off. Bring this round here like so. We're going to be doing the same with this wire here. Give a bit of a twist and then just follow the first wire round, and then we're obviously going to find a place to tie this off. Obviously adjust them so that they look a bit nice. It's a little bit wonky at this stage, but make sure that they're seated nicely, and then we're going to tie these off. Right, so I've folded this over and I've decided I'm going to bring these wires through here. We're going to be using them again for something else, so I'm not going to cut them off after all. So gently bring it through and do the same with the other one. Just try not to put too much of a kink in it, like that. So that will give you wires from the front. We're going to be weaving some more 2x5s, and we're going to be laying these across here. So I'm going to do that now, and if need be, cut some more, but I don't think you'll need any at this stage. You can just bring in wire from the back, pull it through, and straighten out these wires here like that, and create 2x5s. And then again 1, and then just continue. Obviously just press them down as you go. So again, these are 2x3s, so just weave until you've got enough to lay these over the side here. Okay, so I've done about 10 2x3s, and I'm not sure what I'm going to fold it, like this or maybe like this, just not sure yet. Maybe put a bead in here, find a place. So anyway, what we're going to do with these wires is again we're going to bring these across the back, and we need to find a place to tie these off as well. So remove these. I've got a gazillion wires here again, so I think what I'll do is I'll just trim these off here like so, and then you can feel they're still a bit long, but I'd rather have them a bit longer at the moment. So feed these through here, anywhere really where you can find the gap to attach these, and do the same with the other one like so. So feed these through and obviously just push them in and then crimp them off. I'm going to bring this through and then obviously just crimp them off, and that's the wire sort of placing. And you can still arrange this if you don't like the look of it, shift it upwards or downwards, sideways, whatever you want to do with it. And that's so far what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to tie this way off. It's a little bit damaged here, so I hope it won't break before I can finish it off. I think I'll just kind of try and tuck it through one of these weaves here. There we go, that goes in. So if yours isn't brittle like mine, just try and feed it through and then just tie it off gently Just keep your finger over it, that will help you keep it in place. And just feed it through. And obviously just arrange. I need to be really careful now because I think it's about to snap because I damaged the wire. So in that case, you kind of manipulate it very gently. So just arrange it until it's seated properly, and then we're going to trim it off. Okay, so attach this, and I actually managed not to break it, so I've just attached it here. And you're probably pleased to know that now we can cut off some of these wires here, because there's weaving coming out of the end. We're just going to twirl them in, because obviously we don't want any weaves to come undone. And also just make sure that when you are tucking these away, to sort of twist them in so that obviously they don't stick out, and you harm any clothing, or you scratch your skin or anything like that. And you can put a little bead here if you want at a later stage. So we're going to now fill out the rest of the weaving. So we've got the weaving all done, and now you can add in some accent beads and accent gemstones, whatever you'd like to do. Before I do that, usually I tend to put it in loss to oxidize it, because I really don't like to polish up beads because they are hard to polish. So I usually put it in loss first and then add the beads on at a later stage. I have a video about polishing jewelry pieces, and I'll pop a link to that below as well. Right, so I've oxidized it and I've polished it up, and I've created a prong setting. The link for that tutorial I'll pop in the description below as well. You don't have to add one of these. You can also use a drilled bead. It doesn't really matter. Find a place where you think it'll look nice, like so. Maybe here. It doesn't have to be that size of stone as well. It can be anything different. You can just kind of seat it, but then obviously just tie it off anywhere you can find space. Just obviously try not to make them stick out or anything like that. What you can do with some of the leftover wires, if you wanted to, you can use these as detail. You can lay them in the gaps, in the grooves, and maybe around here if you want to, or you can just trim them off. That's entirely up to you. And then obviously we'll be adding some beads just now as well. All right, so the stone's added. So now we're just going to trim off the wires, and you can see here I've tucked them away quite nicely. So I'm just going to trim them off quite close to areas where I can tuck them away, so that they don't actually hook on anything. And this one I still need to tuck away. So I've wrapped this one round one more time, and you can find areas in the frame if you want to secure the leg of the setting a bit more, and just wrap it around the frame as much as you can. Anchor it, and then, like I've done here, tuck it away. So I'm just going to trim this off, and I think this bit here, I'm just going to twist it around, kind of push it in so it doesn't come off. Obviously make sure that it doesn't come out again. And now we're just going to add some beads. So I'm going to lay some beads around the base here. And then what I generally tend to do is I attach the wire somewhere at the back, and then I rerun it throughout the design, just so that I avoid attaching more wires as I go. So I tend to kind of thread the weaving wires through gaps and nooks and crannies of the design, and then just bring in, for instance here, I may just add another bead in here, and then I will bring it through the frame all the way up here, and maybe I'll add a row of beads here, just depending. So again, this is an organic design, and your piece will look different to mine, obviously, so you'll just add in the beads where you think they will look nice. And that's that. So once you're done, trim off all the wires, and that's the whole pendant done. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Hit the subscribe button for more videos in future, and don't forget to visit our artist group on Facebook, which is called Wire Wrappers and Metalsmiths Worldwide. There's a link below if you want to visit my website for more PDF tutorials, kits, gemstones, and other goodies. And don't forget to come and visit me on my social media. I've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and obviously YouTube, so there's also a link below. So it'd be lovely to see you on that social media platform. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.